Is marriage worth it? There are a few different ways that I could approach this question, and as a PhD candidate and student, I can easily approach it from the research and data perspective, which I definitely will. As a wife, I can approach it from my lived experiences, and as the CEO of Marriage Helper, I can approach it from my experience and our organization's experience with thousands upon thousands of couples. And I'll do all three in this video, but I believe the reason that you are asking this question, is marriage worth it, and you're watching this video, is because you're struggling with yours. And you're trying to decide, do I stay in it? Do I try and fight to make this work? Or do I need to cut my losses while I can and move on to a relationship that might be easier in the future? Well, stick around until the end of this video, because at the end, I'm going to tell you about a free 3-part mini course that explains how people fall in love, stay in love, and fall back in love, even if you feel like your marriage is insalvageable. All right, so let's look at the research that just shows what the benefits are of marriage. Let's approach this from the data and research perspective. We know from research that married people are more likely to have better health, physically and emotionally. They actually have stronger immune systems. They have better financial stability. The earning power of a married couple is well above that of a single couple or couples that live together and aren't married. They also live longer, as well as they have drastic decreases in rates of depression and mental illness. Now, of course, many of these research stats that I have given you is for marriages that are doing well. And these symptoms can temporarily be exacerbated on the negative side if you are experiencing a marriage crisis. But is that a reason to divorce? So what I mean by that is you could be saying, well, right now I'm definitely more depressed. I'm definitely getting sick more. We're actually separated and living in separate houses. So even though we might be earning more, we're not financially in a better place than we were. And I understand that. But what I'm saying to you right now is when we look at a great marriage and what a great marriage can do for you and for society, there are so many benefits to it. Just from a research standpoint, marriage is worth it. The data supports it, the research supports it. But here's what we know about research from divorce. Because if you're in that area, that space in your life where you're saying, I'm considering divorce, I'm actually wondering if it's worth it to save this marriage or to try a new relationship with someone else, then let's just look at what the research says about divorce. I'm actually going to read an excerpt from an opinion piece that I wrote that was published. So here's what it said. When we look at the realities of divorce and how our culture promotes divorce as the preferred outcome of a stressful marriage situation, we see that it is a short-term benefit with long-term negatives. First, there's an increase in stress following the divorce. This stems from couples suddenly becoming single parents or losing time with their kids, or the loss of emotional support, or continued conflict with your ex-spouse, and oftentimes an economic decline. Divorced individuals also suffer more from social isolation, feelings of loneliness, and loss of social support, as well as less satisfying sex lives. It's no surprise that one study found that there is up to a 188% increase in the odds of depression, which coincides with research that concluded divorced individuals suffer with poorer mental health and poorer physical health. And exiting a bad marriage is not an indicator of happiness in a future marriage. In fact, the divorce rate for second marriages hovers around 60 to 70%, with third marriages being closer to 85%. Remember, this isn't just opinion. All of this research has been done over decades of time, consistently finding similar results over and over again. But while research and data shows the negative impact of divorce, existing in an unhealthy marriage isn't the answer either. According to research, the top reasons given for divorce, aside from cases of infidelity, were growing apart and not being able to talk to each other, a lack of commitment, and arguing too much. But here's the good news. Most of these reasons that people divorce can be repaired and fixed through behavior and a change in perspective. But here is the bottom line of what that means. Dr. Mark Regnerus, who is a world-renowned researcher in the area of marriage and divorce, in a conversation I was having with him, he said, divorce is just the gift that keeps on taking. It really does ruin people's lives. It ruins families. That does not mean that you can't recover from it and rebuild and be resilient. And the same with your children. Absolutely, you can. And we help people do that even after their marriage didn't work out at Marriage Helper. We still believe there's a healthy and positive future for them. But that is why we stand the ground so firmly that we believe you should do everything you can to try and save and fix the marriage that you're in, so that you have the best possible chance of hopefully getting this one to work. But even if it doesn't, you will be better prepared and set up for any possible relationship in the future. The evidence is clear that marriages are worth fighting for and saving, even though it may seem impossible in the worst of struggles. In fact, most couples wait 6 years after marriage problems start before they ever begin seeking help. So it's likely that you're at the point now where you're asking, is marriage worth it? That you have actually been sweeping issues and disagreements under the rug for about 6 years, give or take. No wonder you're fed up. Here is my expert recommendation. Actually try to work on it. Don't compare all of your problems and issues to the past 6-ish years that you haven't been getting help or haven't actually been implementing the help you've been getting. Recognize that the hurts and the pains that have occurred, the regrettable events and circumstances that have occurred, have happened. But mark a stake in the ground to where you are now and actually begin to do things to make the marriage work. Research also indicates that when individuals start working on themselves first, that it has a direct correlationary impact on the satisfaction of the relationship as well. What does that mean? Don't give up on your marriage because you don't feel like things will change. Don't make the excuse that if only your spouse would change, then everything would be better. Actually start working on you and making changes. I'm going to share with you a story of how this applies and how it has worked for one of the people that we have worked with, which is just one representation of thousands of people. And then I'm going to share with you how you can find that free mini course that I've been talking about. There was a woman who started coming to Marriage Helper, started reaching out to us, going through our material. Her and her husband eventually came to our workshop. But when she first came to us, it was because her husband was in the middle of an affair. What we know at Marriage Helper is that while affairs are definitely not something that are good for your marriage, they typically aren't the sole issue in the marriage either. It is typically that an affair has occurred because of years of problems that haven't been dealt with, and it led to this fertile ground for this regrettable circumstance of an affair to occur. So this woman, she came to us, she went through our workshop, she began working on herself, working on becoming the best she could be, understanding the process of how people fall in love, and doing everything she could to make her marriage work. She did this faithfully for 4 years. Even in the middle of her husband continually coming back to her, telling her that he didn't love her, that he still wanted to be with the other woman, she held true. She stayed strong. She put boundaries in place. She did what she needed to do to protect herself, but she didn't divorce him. She stayed faithful because she wanted to do everything she could to make her marriage work. She fought hard for 4 years. And eventually her husband saw not only the change in her, but began to see the change that he needed to make in himself. And he came back, and they have been reconciling their marriage now for a year. And this woman is one of our coaches as well. Can you imagine how powerful she is in being our coach because she has lived through these circumstances? She realized that there were years of things before that they didn't fix. And she wasn't going to hold that against the marriage. She was going to do what it took to make it work. And she put the stake in the ground and she started working on it. And yes, it did take 4 years. And there are many of you listening to that and thinking, I don't think I can do that. You can do that. As long as you are willing to put the work in and to fight for the marriage because you realize that it's worth it, that this is the most important relationship in your life, and that your family is the most important thing that you are responsible for in your life right now, I believe you'll find the strength even when you didn't think that you had any. Because there is nothing that compares to feeling safe and secure in a relationship and realizing and knowing that there is someone there who is committed to you and you are committed to them no matter what, and that you will be there for them and they will be there for you no matter what. That is what you fight for when you fight for your marriage, and that makes marriage worth it. We want to give you access to this free mini course so that you can learn how people fall in love, how you and your spouse fell in love, and how you can get you and your spouse to fall in love again. We're also going to share in there how you can begin working on becoming the best you can be. At Marriage Helper, we call it the pies of attraction. And we're going to give you quick tips and tools that you can begin implementing today, as soon as you watch these videos, to start seeing change in you, knowing that that is going to correlate to change in your marriage as well. So click the link on the screen and sign up to get your free mini course right now. So after watching this video, I would love to hear from you. Do you believe marriage is worth it? Is marriage worth it? Comment below, tell us your thoughts, give us your feedback and opinion, and share this video with someone that you believe needs it.